Okay, good evening, friends. We're continuing in Daf Hashavua. Today we're learning Daf Nun Aleph. Daf Nun Aleph. The Gemara said on the bottom of Nun Amad Beis something amazing. The Gemara says, Yoima de Mechayich Bei Rebbe, on the day that Rebbe laughed, Asya Paranusa La'ama, punishment came to the world. Rebbe's avodah, his discipline, protected all of Klal Yisrael. When he lost focus for a moment, it brought Paranas to the world. Amar Lei Bar Kapar, he would say to his student Bar Kapara, Loi Sivadichan, don't make me laugh. Yahivna lach arba in grize chitin. I'll give you 40 measurements of wheat. Basically, if you don't make me laugh, I'll give you a treat. The problem is everybody knows if you ask someone not to make you laugh, Amar Lei, so Bar Kapar said, Lech simar, let the master see. Dechol giruya de be'ina shakilna. That any measurement that I want, I'm going to take. I'm going to take as much as I want. Basically, I'm going to take a large amount. So what did he do? Shakal di kularaba, he took a big basket. Chafya kufra, he coated it with tar. V'sachve al reshe, he turned it on its head, he turned it upside down. V'azal v'amarle, and he said to Rebbe, Leichal limar arben grize chite, derashina bach. Give me to eat 40 measurements of wheat that you're supposed to give me. The Ran says, Dikula Rabba, Sal Gadol basket, Chafye bekufra, Tacha Yisai bezefes, he lined it with tar, Kedei Shala Yetzu Achita Mitoich Nikvei Hasal, so that the wheat should not emerge from the holes of the basket. Tach Pei Al Reshe, Hafcha Al Reshe, put on his head. Leichal Limar, the master should measure out for me, Chitim derashina, the wheat that you owe me, Shehovisicha, that you lent to me, Ulabdi chusa kamar, he said it as a joke. What exactly the joke is, like what's he getting at? I'm not exactly sure. What exactly is the joke? Somehow he said, I'm going to get the 40 measurements anyway. And he says, measure out to me the 40 measurements of wheat that you owe me. Achach Rebbe. So Rebbe laughed. Amar Lei, he said to him, Lav azhartach deloi tevadchan. I told you not to make me laugh. Amar Lei, come on, chiti derashini kana sechna. I'm just taking the wheat that you owe me. Says the Ran, Leichal limar, Yimdoid chitim derashina shehovisicha, that I lent you of the chusa kamar. Okay. Now we mentioned earlier that Bar Kapara was not invited to Rebbe's wedding, but here we're going to talk about a wedding he was invited to. So at some point in time, Rebbe had a change of heart and he did invite Bar Kapara. Amar le Bar Kapara levrate de Rebbe. Bar Kapara said to the daughter of Rebbe, Lamachar shasena chamra, tomorrow I'm going to drink wine. Berikuda da'avuch, by your father's dancing. Uv kerkane de'imach, and the croaking of your mother. Bar Kapara said to Rebbe's daughter, I guess the day before the wedding, he said, tomorrow I'm going to drink wine. But by your father's dancing and your mother's croaking. Basically, what does that mean? Apparently women back in the day, they had some kind of custom of some high-pitched shrieking or something like that. And somehow that wasn't Kol Isha. They didn't actually sing, they yodeled, or I don't know what, they made some kind of noise of jubilee. Anyway, now Rebbe had a rich son-in-law, Ben Al Asa Chasnei the Rebbe Hava. Ben Elasa was Rebbe's son-in-law. V'Asher Gadol Hava. He was very rich. Azmanei lebehilula de Reb Shimon Rebbe. Meanwhile, Bar Kapara, he's invited to the wedding of Reb Shimon, the son of Rebbe. So now we'll see, why do we need to know that Ben Elasa was rich? We'll come back to that. Amarle Bar Kapara Rebbe. Bar Kapara said to Rebbe, "My toyeva." What is a toyeva? The word toyeva is used in reference to a man living with another man. Called the Amarle. Basically, now, in our times, I don't know if that would be the most appropriate question to ask at a wedding, but Bar Kapara was trying to speak divrei musar about relationships. So he said to Rebbe, what does the word toyeva mean? Called the Amarle Rebbe dehachinhu toyeva. Whatever pshat Rebbe said the word toyeva meant, paracha Bar Kapara. Bar Kapara shlugged it up. Amarle parshayat. So Rebbe said, you tell me. Amarle, so Bar Kapara said, no. You think I'm going to tell you for free? You give me wine and I'll tell you. He said, Tesi devischi tirmili natla. Let your wife come and pour me wine. Tirmili, she should pour for me natla, a cup. Asaramile, she came and she poured for him. Amarle Rebbe, Bar Kapara said to Rebbe, Kum rukoili de emarlach. Now it's not enough for her to pour for me. Do a jig for me. I want to see you, Rebbe, do a jig. So, okay, Rebbe did it. Hachi amar Rachmana. So Bar Kapara said, this is what the Torah says. Toyeva, toya ata ba. Toyeva stands for, you are making a mistake with this. Meaning you're doing something very erroneous. Toyeva means you're doing something very erroneous. Now, L'kasa achrina amarle, he wanted more alcohol. Yeah, he wanted more alcohol. So what did he say when he wanted more alcohol? He said, "My tevel." What is tevel? Amarle ki inyana kama. So Rebbe said like the first inyan, meaning he tried to guess and Bar Kapara slugged it up. So Bar Kapara said, Amarle, ividli de amarlach. Do for me again and I'll tell you. Meaning, pour me some wine, do a jig. Avad Bar Kapara. So Rebbe did it. Amarle tevel hu means tavlan yeshba. Is there any spices in it? There it's referring to a woman living with an animal. Is there any spices into it? Meaning, like, what do you get out of this? What's unique about this bia? Mai shanya hada bia min kula bias. Why is this bia different than any other bia? Amarle. So Bar Kapara says to Rebbe, Umay zima. What is zima? It's talking about giving your daughter for free relations without marriage. Amarle, so Bar Kapara said, listen, Rebbe, you know the deal. Ivili ki inyana kama, do for me what you did before. Avad v'amarla. So Rebbe did it, and after Rebbe did it, he said, Avad, Rebbe did it, v'amarle, and he explained, Zu mahi, zima means this, what is it? Meaning, we're not going to know regarding Zu, the offspring, what is it? We don't know who the father is. Basically, Ben Elasa was sitting there, the son-in-law, and he's embarrassed that his father-in-law is basically being abused. La yacha Ben Elasa lemizbah. Ben Elasa couldn't be soivel anymore, couldn't tolerate it. He got up, v'nafakuv into Seimitaman. He and his wife got up from there. Let's see the Ran. The Ran says, Berakuda da'avach sheyirakir avich lefanai kisha eshta. He said to the daughter of Rebbe, tomorrow your father will dance for me when I drink. Uverikani the imach, and the croaking of your mother, sheti imach mekarkeres umezameres. Your mother will croak and sing. My toyeva d'chsev gavi mishkav zachar, not la kli katan toy ataba shemaniach mishkavei isha v'helch itzel zachar. You're leaving the relations of a woman and you're going to a male. My tevel d'chsev gavi isha hanirvas l'behima. Tavlin yeshla B'tamia. My shanya chada bia mikula biyos. Klamar heich manachas ben mina leilech itzal habehemais. Why would you leave ben mina? Why would you leave your own species to go to an animal? Zu mahi lashon safek. It's lashon of a doubt. She'en yadua mimihi misareves. It's not known who it is mixed with. Tasporta yichidasa. Tasporta yichidasa. Okay, we're not up to that yet. The Gemara continues. My Ben Elasa. In what way was Ben Elasa a rich guy? Like, how did he show his wealth? In what way was his wealth displayed? The time we learned in a brayso, Lo lechinam pizar Ben Elasa es ma'isa. Ben Elasa did not squander his money for naught. He used it for worthy purposes. Namely, Elalaharis behen taspoires shel kohen gadol. He took a special haircut to be able to show the haircut of a kohen gadol. We know a kohen gadol took haircuts often. The chsiv says by a kohen gadol, Kasaim yichsimu es rosheim. They should cut the hair of their head. Tana, we learned in a brayso, ke'ein lulyanis, like a lulyanis haircut. My lulyanis, I'm Rabbi Yehuda, tusparta yichidasa. It's a special kind of haircut. Hechidami. What was it like? Amarava, roisha shalzeh, b'tzadi karei shalzeh. The top of the hair of one hair touched the roots of the hair next to it. That was the haircut of a kohen gadol. It was a special kind of haircut. Exactly, what was so special about it, I'm not sure. It was given in a certain way, and Ben Elasa used his wealth to showcase this kind of haircut. Says the Ran, Tasporta yichidasa tasporas na b'tzad akeva akare shalzeh mitzamtzem haya shalaya le'echa min hasoris achaver. He was very careful that one hair should not go out of the line to its friend. Kar kuzoi al shem mekayman dalas ara. Okay, weiter. Uvedalas haramutza. The Mishnah said in the beginning of the parak that if somebody asers upon themselves what is called tavshil she'eni toyem, so then he's aser in any watery thing, you're mutter in a thick thing, you're mutter in a beitza tormuta and a dalas ramutza. So now we want to identify my dalas ramutza. What is a ramutza dalas? A gourd of ramutza. Rashma kara karkuzai. It's a gourd from karkuza. Ravash, so it's a certain brand of gourd. Ravashi Amar dalas hatmuna beremetz. It's a gourd that is insulated in remetz, burning ashes. So according to Shmuel, it's a species of gourd. According to Ravashi, it's not a specific species, it's just the way it's prepared. Fine. So the Gemara is going to challenge Ravashi. It says, Gemara Eser, Ravina asks Ravashi, Rabbi Nechemia says, Dalas Aramis, he Dalas HaMitzris, a gourd from Armenia, or Armenia, is a Egyptian, and an Egyptian gourd are synonymous. And therefore, Kalayim im Hayavanis. They are shatnez, they're Kalayim with a Greek gourd. Kalayim im Ramutza, and they're Kalayim with a Ramutza gourd. So this slugs up Ravashi, because we see then it's a species of gourd, not a way in which a gourd is prepared. So the Gemara says, in fact, Tiyufta, it refutes Ravashi. Says the Ran, Aramis karkuzay al shem kaiman dalas Aramis he dalas hamitzris kalaimer zuhi dalas hamitzris the klaimim haramutza alma lav tamuna beremetz kamar. We see it doesn't mean insulated in hot ash. Ela min dalasi shenikra ramutza. It's a kind of ash that's called ramutza. Says the Mishnah. We actually had this Mishnah before, but let's see, it's sort of quoted again. Hanoidim Masa Kedera, Someone who aser makes a neder from that which is done in a pot, ein aser ela mimaisa rasachta, is only aser in something that is done in a boiling pot. Amar koinem hayored l'kder, if somebody says I aser anything that goes down into a pot, shani toim aser b'chol hanasa b'kdera. He's aser in anything that is made in a pot. So if you say something that's maisa kedera, so food the food has to be boiled. Maisa kedera is something that's boiled. If you say anything that goes in a pot, so it means aser b'chol hanasa b'kdera. Anything made in a pot would be aser. Okay, so says the Gemara, Tanya hanoider min hayore l'kedera. Let's see the Ran. Hanoider ma'aser kedera. Eno yaser ela b'ma'aser rasachta. Mefarsh b'Yushalmi. Ezo ma'aser rasachta. Kugan chilka, targin, v'tisni, soilas, v'oirez, zerid, v'arsan, v'haino dekamar. That's what it means. Eno yaser ela b'ma'aser rasachta. V'nikreis rasachta al shem shetzarach l'hartiach. It's called rasachta because it needs to boil ulavash al harbe. Shekvar yorad l'kedera. Okay, let's see the Gemara. Tanya, we learned in a braysa, hanoidim min hayorad l'kedera. If you aser something that goes into a pot, aser b'yorad l'ilpas, then even something that goes in a frying pan would be aser. What are you showing me? How do I see it? Oh, what are you showing me? Which thing?
That's from before. It's from before.
Oh, sorry.
The humor.
Oh, what the humor is? Yeah. Humor in this situation is absurd what Barakar was doing. He was trying to cook the large amount of wheat by choosing a large amount of... Like, I don't understand. What was he saying? I deserve it anyway. He said that, right? He said, Rebbe said, if you don't make me laugh, I'll give it to you. So what's Bar Kapara saying? You have to give it to me anyway? Why does he have to give it to him anyway? Like, what's he saying with that? Right? The humor, I guess, is if you put a basket on your head with tar inside, it's pretty funny, you know? Okay. Fine. Weiter. Tanya, no, so if you answer something that goes into a pot, then you're also even saying that goes into a frying pan. Why? Because if it goes into a frying pan, it's usually cooked before you put it in the frying pan. Shekvar yar l'keder kodim shar l'ilfas. Okay. Min hayor l'ilfas. But if you answer something that goes into a frying pan, then mutter b'yor l'keder. You're mutter in something that goes into a pot because something that goes into a pot did not go into a frying pan. Says Iran, min hanasa b'kedera mutter b'nasa b'ilfas. Second. Okay, so far, let's see the round. Shikvar yor l'keder kadim shar l'ilfas kacha yadarka b'masa ilfas sheyamar tichin oisa b'kedera rasicha kala. First they would heat it up in a boiling hot pot. Fine. Now we continue. Min hanasa b'kedera, if you aser that which was completely done in a pot, mutter b'nasa b'ilfas, then it's permitted something that was finished in a frying pan. Min hanasa b'ilfas is something, if you aser something that's finished in a frying pan, mutter b'nasa b'kedera. You're permitted something that was finished in a pot. The Ran says, min hanasa b'kedera mutter b'nasa b'ilfas. Mishum denasa, the word nasa, Gemara siya mashas, mashma, it's completion. Mishum hachi mutter b'nasa b'ilfas. Therefore it's permitted in something that's completed in a frying pan, afal pishikvar yar l'keder, even though it was already in a pot. Because if I say, I aser something that's finished in a pot, I'm mutter in something that's finished in an ilfas. because it was not finished in the way that you delineated. But and vice versa. If you answer something that's finished in an ilfis, you're permitted something that's finished in a pot, even if after you finish in the pot, you finish it again in a frying pan. Shari, since the finishing product was in a kedera, kach nera be'enai. Okay. The Gemara continues. Hanoider min hayored l'tanor. If you answer something that goes into an oven, in aser b'pas, you're only aser in bread. If you say kolmase tanor alai, anything that is made in an oven, I aser mi aser b'chol anasim tanor. Then anything that's made in an oven is aser. Says the Ran. The stam yor l'tanor mashma pas. Stam, something that goes into a tanor, refers to pas. If you say anything made in an oven upon me, aser b'chol anasim tanor, it's aser in anything made in a tanor. Okay, shkoyach. Thank you very much, Yehuda. Have a good night. Hatzlach in upcoming zman. Kol tov. Probably we have to get together again tomorrow night. Okay.
Note 4 explains what he was saying when he said he owed it to him anyway.
No, for let me see.
Cut it off a little bit.
Okay. Okay, I'll check. Okay, thanks a lot, Yehuda. Okay, good day and feel good. All the best.